Get to know the fascinating story of the powerful King Nebuchadnezzar, his deeds, and his intrigue in the ancient Babylonian Empire. Hey guys, today we will explore the history of King Nebuchadnezzar, one of the most renowned monarchs in the ancient Babylonian Empire. Let's discover your journey of achievements, challenges, and intrigue. In succeeding my father Nabopolassar as a supreme leader of the Babylonian Empire in 604 BC, felt the weight of the crown over my head. Becoming the sovereign of one of the greatest empires of the time was not just an act of succession, but a transition to a new chapter of my life. My reign lasted for impressive 43 years, time during which I faced challenges and experienced moments of glory and complexity. The responsibility of commanding the destination which kebarent imartei, itristei, pritei, imardeli the empire's trajectory, but also my own journey as a leader. As an ambitious leader, I inherited not only the crown of my father, Nabopolassar, but also an insatiable headquarters for grandeur and power. Mastering the Babylonian Empire was not enough. I wanted to leave an indelible brand in history. As I raised imposing monuments and fortified the walls of the glorious Babylon, my megalomania boosted each decision. Reports about my search for achievements reverberated beyond the boundaries of my kingdom, feeding legends and fears. However, behind the facade of a tireless leader, he resided a relentless tyrant who did not hesitate to crush any opposition with iron wrist. My ambition was as large as the walls I raised, and this duality between glory and tyranny shaped a controversial legacy that would accompany me forever. Part 3. Throughout my military campaigns, one of the most striking episodes was the invasion and withdrawal of Jerusalem. In 597 BC, I marched with my troops against the city of Jerusalem, challenging King Joachim, who had allied himself to the Egyptians. The resistance of the city was fierce, but the walls were no match for the Babylonian army momentum. During the invasion, I captured the newly successful King Joachim and plundered the Temple of Solomon, symbol of the faith of the Jewish people. Ritharmes, sa sonet su scenario ritenere su, so daraudon, do seu zauri, ila ben su marigarinis, porie, do saventri mere, ida. Yolu, the saventri marked, the sort of beginning of a series of clashes between our powerful Babylon and the neighboring kingdoms, outlining my reputation as a feared and relentless leader. Throughout my reign in the powerful Babylonian Empire, I highlight not only as a relentless military leader, but also as a visionary builder. My ambition and my megalomania were not just about gaining territories and mastering peoples. I sought to eternalize my name through great monuments that would echo in history. Among all my achievements, Babylon's famous gardens emerge as the maximum expression of my grandeur, projected not only to extol my wife, noble Amitis of the average, but also to boast the splendor and ingenuity of my reign. Imagine yourself walking between lush trees planted on high sidewalks, supported by imposing columns that simulated a mountainous landscape. The suspended gardens were an architectural masterpiece that challenged the laws of nature and redefined the concept of beauty and luxury in antiquity. Talvez til calodest, pospetinu, por fides, por amendas roots, in average inspired this magnificent creation. Despite historical controversies about the real existence of suspended gardens, their legend transcends generations, witnessing my unwavering desire to leave a lasting legacy in the heart of the grandiose Babylon. The latter Daniel was a constant presence in my court, not only as a cunning counselor, but as an interpreter of the enigmatic dreams that disturbed my nights. It was through Daniel that I could glimpse not only the future of the Babylonian Empire, but the divine influence that weaved the destinies of the nations. His words echoed in the salons of the royal palace, revealing hidden truths and signaling the grandeur and fragility of the monarchs before the will of the gods. The reports contained in the sacred writings are testimonials of a time when the boundaries between the divine and the human intertwined were inextricably. Thus, the presence of visionary prophets such as Daniel became not only a fundamental piece in the gear of political and religious power, but also a constant reminder of the transcendence of the sacred over the earthly trivialities. Irabo, Iamentarnaus deror, Tuzon de Mo, in a ball, in a ball, Yemen pausing, tree, rose, majestic to the skies, housing birds and animals of all species. Was that you pushed? Isamedu, Isaminidagi, Tendus, Tingus, Perin Budazolar, Temvezoru, Tuzri. It shooks leaves and disperses its fruits. The animals under her are sinks, and the birds from the branches come out. The interpretation of the placement of the prophetic nature of this dream, Samini Salus Iru King Nebuchadnezzar, was represented by the sovereign tree that would be slaughtered by the divine hand due to my excessive arrogance. Dark times approached. He was remained to divine insanity, experiencing 7 times wandering through the fields like a beast of the field, far from the glory and the throne that won to me. In these days of darkness and desolation, I learned humility in the face of the supreme power that governs the universe, whose interneous dark period, reason turned me as a gift from heaven, and in the midst of my mental restoration, surrender glory to the Most High, recognizing His sovereignty over all things and His dominion over the fate of men. The Starotar, through a striking episode, stor runic interação da Nilabim, but also stressed the redemptive capacity of the divine to restore even the most proud hearts. During the years of sovereignty in the vast Babylonian Empire, my relationship with the prophet Daniel was marked by a subtle dance between secular authority and divine wisdom. In his eyes, I saw the presence of the Most High, a God who transcended the boundaries of Babylon and the pagan gods we had been worshipping for so long. In his enigmatic words and the prophetic views he revealed to me, he perceived a call beyond the walls of my own understanding. Daniel was the messenger of a primordial truth that resonated in the most intimate recesses of my troubled soul. Each dream interpreted, every prediction given, echoed not only as slogans, but as an invitation to reflection on the greater purpose that guided the destinies of nations and men. To swear, you see, to this, to King Troasi, Lur, to say, to Sarata, Yaswasiyen, Yasurdis, Buan, authority, personified. However, even in the face of the revelations and warnings brought by Daniel, my heart oscillated between faith in ancient rituals and restlessness before the unknown. The shadow of the Most High hovered over my golden throne, challenging my more rooted convictions and questioning the solidity of the foundations of the empire that had lifted. Thus, in the midst of the splendor of the court and the majesty of the pagan temples, it debated me between loyalty to the ancestral gods and the latent intuition that there was something greater, something transcendental that escaped the clutches of reason. After nearly 7 decades of reign, the inevitable time came when my legacy needed to find its outcome. I approached the end of a journey marked by grandiose achievements and unfathomable challenges. Although my shadow still hindered over the glorious Babylon, I knew that time was relentless and would not even spare a leader as powerful as me. With the death of Nebuchadnezzar at the approximate 70 years of age, the pages of the history of the ancient Babylonian Empire were for a new chapter. My son evil Merodach was called to briefly assume the throne that had been mine for so long. However, the meteoric rise of the Persians was about to throw a shadow over the golden walls of Babylon and definitely end the cycle of splendor and majesty that marked our time as immortal monarchs. During the last years of my reign, the question of my conversion remained an unresolved riddle. Many speculated on the nature of my relationship with the God of Israel, if I had been genuinely transformed by my experience of divine madness and restoration. Portanto, recordar a sua profia nada zoom. Pois alguns trabalhar entre interpretations. The title of my servant, granted by God, indicated that I played a role in his sovereign plan, but to what extent did this role reflect a deep spiritual change? Some point to my words as an indication of a possible inner transformation, while others highlight the absence of an explicit confession of the uniqueness of the God of Israel. In the absence of clear evidence, the question of my conversion remains involved in mystery. Babylonian historical records also offer little light on this aspect of my personal life, describing me as a devotee of the precepts of Babylonian paganism and faithful follower of Marduk. The puzzle of my conversion, or lack of it, remains an intriguing theme that challenges historians and scholars to the present day. After diving together on the fascinating journey through the history of the powerful King Nebuchadnezzar, it is a moment of reflection and appreciation for everything we have learned. His achievements, challenges, and even his contradictions led us to a path of discoveries and questions. I hope you have been involved in the mystery and grandeur of this monarch who left such a striking legacy in antiquity. The story of Nebuchadnezzar goes beyond the words written in the old scrolls. It invites us to reflect on power, pride, redemption, and the complexity of human nature. By sharing this knowledge, we seek not only to understand the past, but also enrich our own journey in the present. May the lessons of Nebuchadnezzar echo in our hearts, reminding us of the transience of empires and the eternal flow of history. Thank you for accompanying me on this trip through the time tunnel. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more exclusive content full of historical intrigues and amazing revelations. Did you like to know more about the intriguing story of Nebuchadnezzar? Leave your comment below sharing your impressions or suggestions for new videos. Al senki ng wordiro areho, senki nisu, getting Nebuchadnezzar's intriguing past. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel so as not to lose the next exclusive content.